Hey, Dr. Pat here. I want to talk to you about transforming your health, and I am passionate about helping people do just that. This is my office in South Sioux City. We have medical, chiropractic, and physical therapy professionals all working with people, and I love to run the functional medicine part of the practice. Now, I want to tell you why I'm doing this. If you look at health in America, it is terrible, right? This is what happens after age 30 or 40. We see a big decline, and we spend the last third of our life in this no-fun zone. And we don't live as long as we could. This is what happens with a healthy living plan like the 7 Systems Plan. You live a lot longer, but look at this. This is the big thing. We compress that red zone where you have diseases, medications, disabilities into days or weeks, into a very short period of time instead of years. Now, I've been doing this a long time. This is actually when I began my journey in 1980. That's me, believe it or not. And I was just passionate about nutrition and health and helping people with weight loss. So from the very beginning in Chicago, I was working with patients. And I had a fellow intern with me in the clinic who said, I want to lose 60 pounds in 90 days. And I see you helping people do that. Can you help me? And I said, I can do that. Now, we didn't have pictures, cameras back then, but that's kind of what he looked like. He was overweight and just kind of introverted. And in his 3-month period, he became a macho man, just like this. Now, his self-esteem changed, his image changed, and he was healthy. I continued helping patients, and then in 2002, I attended the Institute of Functional Medicine for some advanced training on the systems of the body, and it was very, very good training. The only problem was, it's this complicated for patients to do. It's just way too complicated. It takes a lot of time, and it's very expensive. But I did figure out what you have to do is get each of the body's 7 systems working correctly. This is a cause of disease when those systems don't work correctly. So instead of all the expensive testing and everything that they did, I discovered a simple way to evaluate each of these 7 systems, identify system malfunction, and then I found out it's not that hard to get these systems working correctly again. And I've helped thousands of people now. So it was individuals that I was helping, and then groups of people. And then I wrote the 7 Systems book on what I do, and it became an Amazon bestseller. Then I put my course online so that people anywhere could access my material. And we right now have people in almost every state in America and 7 countries around the world that are doing the 7 Systems Plan. And we have amazing stories. This is Cindy. She had knee pain so bad she couldn't get down on the floor to play with her grandkids. Do you think she has any problem getting on the floor now? She fixed her systems. Diabetes, high cholesterol, hypertension, all gone in a short period of time. Manon, a 63-year-old grandmother, feels much better about herself. And Diane, she looks better, she feels better, she is tremendously healthier. The next thing that started happening is I started getting calls to speak at doctor conventions to train them on this material. And this is me speaking in front of 500 doctors up in Minneapolis. I just got back from Atlanta, Georgia, spoke to a great group there. And I came up with a program to train these doctors so that they could do what I do. And we now have doctors in 13 states that are teaching the 7 Systems Plan. So here's what I want you to get. Health problems can be caused by every system. So let me give you a couple examples. Your structural system, that's fat, muscle, and bone, and we have 76% of Americans now overweight. Which system causes problems with weight? Every system. You can have angry fat cells, bad bacteria in your digestive system, the wrong food or too much, a slow metabolism, hormone problems, chronic inflammation or toxins, all those things can. So you have to fix every system to correct that problem. Delivery system. Every 42 seconds, someone has a heart attack in America. And what is the cause of heart problems? Well, there's lots of things, but here's what we know about blood pressure. Every single system can cause blood pressure problems. Every single system can cause heart problems. What about low energy? It is the #1 reason for medical visits, people low on energy. Which system is that? Every system can cause problems with low energy. Do you see what I'm trying to get you to see here? We got to fix all 7 systems, and when you fix all 7 systems, you're going to have great health like I do. This is Mark and Pam. Now, Mark was trying to lose weight, trying to get healthy, trying to get off medications, and in 1 year he lost 5 pounds. Not that good. Right here is where he came to class and joined the 7 systems plan, and within months he hit his goal weight. He and his wife lost 100 pounds and got off all their medications. Dustin and Sarah, 270 pounds of weight loss. Carrie, 150 pounds. Kevin, 170 pounds. I help lots of people regain their health. Now, I do want to tell you about a patient I could not help, because there are some of those. This is Sheila. Now, she came to my office, and she knew she was a diabetic, had cholesterol problems, obesity, and hypertension. And I did some testing on Sheila, and I found problems with every system. Now, that's a big red flag when you find problems with every system. And I said, Sheila, you're going to have a train wreck if you don't fix your systems. The problem is, Sheila wasn't willing to make any changes in what she was doing. And sure enough, she had that train wreck, ended up in a coma in the hospital for 6 weeks and almost died. Now, she lived, but she came out with twice the health problems, twice the medications, but now she was willing to make some changes. And this is what happened to Sheila. Off all of her medications, insulin-dependent diabetes gone, kidney function comes back to normal. So you can do amazing things if you give your systems what they need. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to quickly go through these 7 systems so you kind of see what they are and how they work and what you need to do. And we'll start with your most important system, your frame, your bone, muscle, and fat. Candy came to see me many years ago, and she had problems with bones, muscle, and fat. And in fact, she had tried to lose weight repeatedly, spent thousands of dollars on weight loss programs, and it never worked. So I taught her the importance of getting rid of belly fat. When you have belly fat, you have fat around the organs. You know, where's the liver? Where's the heart? You get fatty liver disease when you get belly fat. 1/3 of the patients that I check have fatty liver disease, and it will kill your liver. And fat around the heart. Your fat, don't get the wrong idea here, should be happy fat. It should behave, it should not suck up the calories, and it should just give you energy when you need it. My fat is happy. But when you keep stuffing that fat more and more, it becomes angry fat. And now that angry fat doesn't work for you anymore. It drains your energy, makes you hungry and tired, and just having angry fat cells makes it easy to gain more and more weight. Now, we've got a 3-step program to get rid of angry fat that works extremely well. The first thing we do is lower insulin. I'm going to talk about insulin a little later. But we also change when you eat. And in America, I'm going to tell you right now, we eat too often, too many times and in too many hours. Now, let me show you one little thing that we do. Do you think the time of day you consume most of your calories matters? Here's a study where they had 2 groups of people. They each got to eat 2,000 calories in one meal. Not the healthiest program, I wouldn't suggest it, but this group ate 2,000 calories in the morning and lost 2 pounds in a week. All right? Same calories, exact same food, exact same meal, eaten in the evening, and they gained weight. There's a difference between calories and the time of day. And what we also know is that if you eat the same calories every day, you don't mix it up, you don't lose weight near as fast as if you mix it up. And that also makes it a lot easier to keep the weight off. We talk about fasting mimic diets in our program, and we teach you 3 of the most powerful fasting mimic diets there are. So I help people change when they eat, how often they eat, how many hours they eat, and most importantly, what they eat. So let's talk about that 3rd step. And when I was coming up with the 7 systems plan, I took the healthiest programs out there and I took the best parts of each and came up with what I call the 7 systems plan. And I make it simple. I give you a shopping list. I want you to eat from these 9 food groups, and I want you to stay away from the red things in those food groups. And you can do lots of tasty things. There's lots of healthy, good food that you can have. Well, we're going to not take anything away without giving you something to replace it. Like pasta's very bad for you, but there's some healthy pastas. Potatoes not the best, but there's cauliflower rice to replace that. And we replace refined grains with whole grains and give you lots of tasty recipes that you can use and things to eat, and even some power smoothies. I'm really a big fan of these. My wife Teresa is the author of the 7 Systems Kitchen. She puts together these recipes for you. And in a very short time, we turn angry fat into happy fat. Back to Candy. This is what happened to Candy. She lost over 100 pounds in a year, and 13 years later was maintaining her progress, keeping the weight off. This is Jessie in North Carolina. Never been to my office. She went through our online course, as did Julie in Ohio. Mike in Nebraska got rid of his diabetes and obesity. And Brandy, look at age 30 and age 40. She is younger at age 40 than she was at age 30 because she fixed her systems. I always warn people, though, you might have to buy some new clothes if you go through my program. Now, 98% of what I have you do is eat real food. And we're going to show you how to do that and get to enjoying that. But I do use some things to fix systems, a few vitamins, and a functional food shake. Now, this is a powerful thing. It's not like a protein shake. Here's a study where they had pre-diabetic women either on a good diet and the functional food or just a good diet. Calories are equal, exercises are equal, everything's the same for 12 weeks. And what happened? Almost all the people using the functional food shake no longer diabetic, no longer in that category. And they lost weight faster. My patients lose weight twice as fast when they use these, and they fix their systems quicker. And I want to tell you the importance of eating the correct foods at the certain times of day. If you eat the correct macronutrients first meal of the day, you will eat less throughout the day. If you eat the wrong thing, as almost all Americans do, they ate 81% more the rest of the day, and that's because they're affecting hormones. Second system in your body, digestive system, is where 90% of all diseases come from, an extremely important system. Now in the course, we're going to go through every part of this system so you understand it. Lucinda came into me because of weight problems and out of control type 1 diabetes. Now type 1 never goes away, but we can make it better. Type 2 we get rid of all the time. But here's what alarmed me. She had all of these digestive symptoms. So digging into it, we found out that was the root cause of all of her problems. I want you to understand that your gut bacteria, your gut microbiome control your brain. You got anxiety, you got depression, you got food addictions, you need to look to the gut. The gut controls when you eat, what you eat, and how much you eat to a significant degree. And one of the main things that makes those decisions good or bad is the kind of bacteria that you have in your gut. If you've got good bacteria, it turns off hunger, it decreases inflammation, and it signals the brain to make good food choices. What do bad bacteria do? Just the opposite. Now, if you've been on antibiotics 1 week, you have eliminated all 3.5 pounds of good bacteria in your gut. It's gone. And here's a study showing it doesn't take weeks or days. It can take years for that to come back unless you do some specific thing. And you've got to get that bacteria back. If you're taking medications, it kills your gut bacteria. And I hope you don't use these artificial sweeteners. There's a study from Duke University. 1 packet of Splenda, half your gut bacteria is gone. And this isn't a little factor in health. This is a huge, huge factor. They took 2 mice. They put bad bacteria in one and good bacteria in the other one's gut, and what happened? That's what happened. This is a big factor. Now, everyone today is on the Ozempic bandwagon, the GLP-1 drugs, taking injections to lose weight, and I got to tell you, I am very concerned about this. I have patients that have serious complications from that, and I don't think they have begun to know what it's going to do to your gut and to your brain. But wouldn't it be nice if there was a natural product that could boost your body's own GLP-1, and that natural product had nothing but good side effects? Well, there is such a product. I was very excited to learn about this. Here's how GLP-1, your weight loss hormone, is produced. You eat a meal, and then you, look at this, have the correct bacteria in your gut. Now, there are only 2 specific types of probiotic that have been shown to stimulate the production of GLP-1. And I like to use that one because it helps with weight loss, but it also helps get rid of visceral fat, that stuff down in your gut. Human studies show this is very, very powerful. So fixing Lucinda's digestive system helped her and her husband lose 220 pounds, and her out-of-control diabetes went from very bad to very well controlled, and her A1C came down, her insulin requirements came down. Larry went through this program just to help his wife and ended up losing 50 pounds and getting off all 10 of his medications. I love helping people get off meds. Rhonda, irritable bowel syndrome for years, gone. I have a pilot who went through my program a few years back. He had ulcerative colitis. Now that is a very nasty problem with the intestinal tract where you get ulcers, and he's not going to be a pilot if this continues. Within 1 month of being on the 7 Systems plan, it is in remission, and now 3.5 years later, it still has not come back. The number 1 killer in America is in our next system. It is your heart. So that is part of the delivery system. We have the heart, we have blood vessels, and we have nutrient transporters that carry the fat and protein around, like LDL cholesterol. Roy came to see me in 1990, way back, with a blocked heart artery. He had an angiogram similar to this. He had chest pain. He had to take nitroglycerin regularly. He couldn't walk a block without sitting down. He's overweight. He's got a terrible diet. And he's wanting me to help him because he's refusing to have the bypass that they want to do. So I taught him that when you're overweight, or if you have insulin resistance, or you have inflammation in your body, your blood vessels become stickier. And then LDL also becomes stickier, and it tends to get stuck on the vessel wall. And now we have a blockage, or we have plaque. And that plaque can make your blood pressure go up. It can, if it plugs your heart vessels, it can cause a heart attack. But HDL cholesterol, you've heard of that as the good one? Well, it's the good one because it does just the opposite. It acts like a garbage truck. It picks up that plaque and it takes it to the liver. So I knew this would occur. I didn't know how significantly this would occur if we did the right things in 1990, because there weren't imaging studies that showed how much you could reverse this. But Roy got better and better and better. And 9 months after starting working with me, he's lost all the weight. He's fit. His chest pain's gone. He goes elk hunting in Colorado and hikes the mountains with his grandson for a week and has no problems. When he got back, his cardiologist insisted he have the angiogram done again because he thought he was going to die, and was amazed that the blood vessel had opened up. This is me and Roy 28 years later. Now, 2 years after we started working with Roy, they did imaging studies that show these changes begin in 3 weeks when you follow a healthy living plan. Rhonda, high cholesterol that would not come down. We fixed her delivery system and got rid of her fatty liver in 6 months. Obesity and high blood pressure for Denny, both gone. Now, there are a few key vitamins, and I'm going to just talk about one. If you can only take one vitamin, this has got to be one of the top ones. It's a vitamin that lowers breast cancer risk 83%, colorectal cancer 55%, and cancer in general 67%. And we have a cancer epidemic in America. What is that vitamin? It is vitamin D. All these diseases and cancers disappear or decrease markedly when you get your blood levels up to 70. One of the most important blood tests you can have is a vitamin D test to see where you're at. And let's talk about your energy level. I hope you have lots of energy like I do. Your energy is produced in the energy system. So in every cell in your body, you have hundreds or thousands of mitochondria. Think of them as little factories that crank out your energy. They're very, very powerful, but they're also kind of fragile. And if you don't do things right, by age 50, there's a very good chance that you have lost half your mitochondria and half your energy. You remember Bo and Luke? You guys old enough for that? Lots of energy, right? How about Uncle Jesse? Not so much at age 60, and he still should have good energy. Alice came to see me, no energy, obese, slept a lot. She's on 8 prescriptions and just wants to feel good again. Well, she had depleted her mitochondria. But here's the good news. You can get your mitochondria back quickly. In fact, you can double them quickly, and you can make them 300% more productive. And that's what we did with Alice. She got better and better. And I said, all right, you need to go see your doc. Sent her back, and he took her off all 8 of her prescriptions, and she was a ball of energy. Kevin, low energy, and now he's running cross country. Virginia ramped up her energy. I love getting people energetic again. If you have trouble losing weight, you probably have a hormone problem. Now, in the 7 Systems plan, we talk about 7 key hormones. We teach you how to optimize them. We also talk about nerves and neurotransmitters, but I want to talk about one hormone tonight. This is insulin, your fat storage hormone. Here's what the studies show. If you have high insulin, you are at a higher risk for heart disease, hypertension, stroke, cancer, and diabetes, the main killers in America. If you have low insulin, you don't have any risk for those problems. And not only that, you won't have weight problems if your insulin is where it should be. Jody came to see me, obese, food cravings, poor diet, no energy, stressed, and she was really trying to lose weight. She's a school teacher. She knows what to do. Her doctor said, you're obese, lose weight, 6 months. She diets and exercises and loses nothing. And here's why. Insulin. The release of fat from fat cells is inhibited by insulin. So here's what I'm saying. If your insulin's high, you can keep putting fat into a fat cell, but you can't take it out. So you got to lower insulin. And we checked Jody's. Hers was 3 times higher than normal, 17. It should be less than 5. So we like to do a blood test for insulin. But here's another way you can check your insulin. If you just take your hand and pinch right here and see how much you have to pinch, that's a pretty accurate finding for high insulin. Jody lost 60 pounds in 6 months. Got rid of all of that fixed her insulin, got it down to the ideal level. Dan, diabetes and obesity, not looking forward to a fun retirement. Well, he is now because he fixed his systems. Only 2 systems left here. Stay with me. Chronic inflammation and health. Let's talk about that. Now, this is your defense system. And if you have inflammation in your body, you're going to have lots of problems. Inflammation drives lots of diseases. You've probably heard of tonsils, lymph nodes, and bone marrow, but most people have never heard of gut lymph tissue. And I want you to see 80% of your defense system, your immune system, is in your gut. Here's your intestinal tract. There's your gut lymph tissue. Now here's what I want you to get. If you have problems with your gut, the bad bacteria in there, or you have leaky gut or gaps between the cells, you're going to be stimulating that defense tissue, that gut lymph tissue, to do bad things to your body. So underfunctioning this system means you're going to get sick a lot. Colds, flu, bronchitis. If it overfunctions, then this can cause that gut lymph tissue to attack you, and you have allergies, asthma, and autoimmune disease. And that's what happened to Patty. She calls me from Atlanta, Georgia. She's obese. She's been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. She has it bad in her hands and feet, so bad she can't wear shoes. She's afraid she's going to lose her job because she can't use her computer mouse. And she asked her rheumatologist, "Can I change my lifestyle? Will that help?" And what do you think he said to her? No. You need to go on this drug, and you need to go on it for the rest of your life. She goes home and looks up the side effects of that drug, an immunosuppressant, and says, "I don't want to do this." So because of a friend in my class, she contacts me, and we get her going, and the first thing we do is fix her gut. You have one cell that separates your intestinal tract and the food in here from your bloodstream. If you get gaps between the cells or you have cells missing, then that gut lymph tissue can get stimulated by undigested food and bacteria and confused, and it starts sending out these attack signals, and it starts attacking your body. Where in your body? Anything. Joints, thyroid, intestines, muscles, pancreas, skin. There's 130 different autoimmune diseases, and most of them have their origin in the gut. But it's not that hard to heal the gut up, get those tight junctions back, and then food has to be digested and bad bacteria is kept out of the system. Gut lymph tissue calms down, and then that inflammation and attack signals gets turned off. I don't hear from Patty until 6 months later, and she sends me a nice email. All signs of rheumatoid are gone. And she's not only wearing shoes, she's jogging in those shoes. She's lost 65 pounds. John, never been to my office. He's got rheumatoid so bad he can't button his shirt. In a year, it's gone. The worst fibromyalgia patient I've ever had, that's how she had to shop. In 90 days, it's gone. 20 years of pain gone. Severe migraines. This is one of my worst migraine patients. I keep telling him, "Kurt, we need to fix your systems." Finally we do, and years of migraines gone. Toxins and health. Do toxins affect your health? Absolutely. And I got to tell you, in America, we are bombarded with toxins. You've got 5 main organs that get these toxins out of your body, and they need to be working correctly. Nancy came in to see me, severe headaches, brain fog. She can't walk to the bathroom in the morning without help, pain everywhere, tingling in her hands and feet. Well, those symptoms all make me think of toxins. And she'd had all these diagnoses and months of treatment, and she's getting worse every day. Here's what we know about these toxins. We've been checking human fat tissue, which is where they accumulate in your body, since 1972. And guess what? 5 of the worst ones are in everybody. And they cause weight problems, autoimmune problems, sensitivities to chemicals, neurological problems, cancers, all kinds of things. And they're not a small factor, they're a huge factor. Same diet and exercise, they just put toxins in one, and it totally messes up the systems. So let me ask you this. If you have a sick fish in a dirty tank, do you medicate the fish? Well, that's what we do in America. We medicate. No, you clean the tank, right? And that's what I did. I said, Nancy, I'm going to put you on a program to ramp up these 5 organs, get them all working correctly, and you're going to feel better in 10 days. Now, she did not believe me, but she said, I'll do it anyway. Day 7, I get a call, Dr. Pat, my headaches are gone. I can walk to the bathroom without help. Day 10, she had been off work for months. She goes back to work day 10. Now, she'd only needed to lose 25 pounds. She lost that and fixed her detox system. His liver enzymes are so high, he's going to need a liver transplant if this continues. In 6 months, he has a perfectly functioning liver. So here's a big picture. I'll make sure you get it. If you have 3 plants that are dying, and you give 1 water, 1 sunlight, and 1 plant food, will any of them live? No. What if you give all 3 of those things to a plant? Yeah, then it's going to live. So you kind of see what I'm getting at here, how important it is to fix your body's 7 systems, to get each of them working correctly. Wayne, 68, lots of medications, obesity, fixed his systems. We have lots of people that go through our course, and I want you to graduate, just means complete and hit your health goals. Susie did. And Christy, 50 pounds in 6 months. Amy, 100 pounds in 6 months. And it's not just weight loss, it's fixing your systems. So in our course, you get all of the training on each of these systems. It's fun material, it's easy to get through, and you will learn a lot. You'll know how the systems work and if yours are and what you could do to get them working better. And if you jump in now, we've got bonuses for you too. I've been doing this for decades, and I'm going to give you every tool I have to make you successful in getting to your health goals. Food addiction is a big problem. Well, we have a test to let you rank your addiction problem. Testosterone surveys. Men, you'll find out where your testosterone is, and frequently men double their testosterone on our program. A survey, you'll know how your systems are working from the start, and lots more. And I've got lots of bonus lessons too that you will get. One on your microbiome. You guys kind of see how important that is. Fasting and fasting mimic diets, food addiction, and spicing up your love life. Lots of good material there. We also have a private community that you get access to. We have thousands and thousands of members. If you need encouragement or some food menu or something like that, they give you lots of encouragement real fast. We have a workbook that you get as you go through the course. And we, if you're going to take supplements, give you access to a very good supplement company that has a great price on things. Now, if you're watching in one of our provider offices, that is the absolute best way to do it. If you're in my area, you can sure do it in my office as well. What if you're in an area that does not have providers, because there's quite a few of those? Well, you can join my class live on Zoom every week. The total value of everything we do is over $10,000, but I make this affordable to everyone. You're not going to pay that. And I want to close by just giving you a little illustration of how powerful this is. Changing your lifestyle, changing your health, getting your systems working correctly. They're going to show 2 different stories here. This is the same guy going down one of 2 paths. This path would be if he had his systems working correctly, and this path would be the average American. Now, it's not my patient, but it's very, very helpful.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get It's time to decide.
And it's time for you to decide too, and I hope you decide to do something to get each of your systems working correctly. I make it simple. All you got to do is do a video training per week in a provider office, my office, or even online. All those are great options, and we're going to give you some homework, a few things to do every week, and if you do that, by the end of 6 months, you have transformed your health and everything is working great. Thank you very much for taking time to join me. If you want more information, check with your provider, or you can find it at 7systemsplan.com or in the link below. And I want to ask you a favor, please. As you go through the course and as you fix your systems, I want you to share your story with me. It's what drives me, seeing people transform their health and get everything back to working normally. Thank you.